Peace and welcome to the Atlantis School for Gifted Youngsters. Thanks for watching and subscribing to our channel.
Have simply different forms and it's expressed differently in our form. That's all. But we're all one and the same, essentially. So now when you get to the understand and build degree, or your understanding of how to build and destroy it, ask the question, why did God make devil? And like I said, throughout all of these lessons, we've been talking about devil in the form of adversity and things that we look and deal with within us that are challenges. Essentially, what this lesson is telling you is any kind of adversity that you deal with in life, it's for the express purpose of anti-fragility. And I've mentioned this before in one of our classes. Anti-fragility is just like if you break a bone or something, and once that bone heals, it becomes stronger than what it was to begin with. So the challenges and adversity that we deal with in life is a process of anti-fragility, not just resilience, because resilience is just your ability to withstand things that you go through. Anti-fragility is a process of actually making you stronger from it, right? The other thing that's important to realize in this lesson is when you're dealing with that type of adversity, not only does it show forth and prove that power or that anti-fragility, but it also demonstrates how wise you are and righteous. Have y'all ever, well, you might even experienced it before. You've been through a circumstance where you may have not made the wisest decisions or the most righteous decisions, right? And that really exposed your power. But when you reflect upon it and you look back at that shit, you be like, yo, I ain't even have to do all that. I could have did this instead, you know? But in the midst of it, a lot of times you may not see the different opportunities or options that allows you to maintain your integrity and righteousness and express a high degree of wisdom. So here's the thing. If God or supreme intelligence is supreme force and power, right? Like it's often said, omnipotent, omnipresent, omnipotent, all powerful. If that's what you truly say that supreme force and power is, then that is present at all times, regardless of what you go through. If you come to a situation in life where you relinquish that power, are you truly committed to what you say that is or not? That's one reason why this lesson tells you about dealing with adversity, and it allows you to show forth and prove your power that allows God always has been and always will be, or that supreme force and power always has been and always will be, regardless of what you go through. Some people aren't really committed to that. So they go through something and then the mathematics go out the door. Or they just do some more other shit. Soon as the going get tough, they just put it down and they not gonna do the right thing no more. They just gonna do something else. So are you really committed to this being supreme force and power? And that's something that we always have to ask ourselves, because we're always in situations that challenges our wisdom and our righteousness all the time, especially in this kind of society, or just dealing with people that test your damn patience and your nerves. But like the lesson says, you're able to destroy that in one day without falling victim to that devil's civilization. And that's really the key to even living a civilized life or living righteously. That in any situation, there is always going to be a righteous option and the opportunity for you to make an all-wise decision. We may not see it at that time, but that is always present there because supreme force and power always has been and always will be. And if that is the essence of who we are, that is always present in every given situation. Now you have some people who say that that they the true and living, that they this, that, and the third, or this, all of this other stuff. But then soon as they meet a challenge, they say, yo, I'm just got to do what I got to do. Or, nah, I'm just going to go ahead and do this instead. So do you really think that you are the source of supreme force and power? Because if you do really think that, then you're going to have much more patience and a sense of sustainability in these kind of circumstances. That's why it's also important to be connected to your network, because you may not be able to see some shit in that moment because you stuck in the forest looking at the trees. Somebody else may be looking at the forest and say, nah, don't even do that. So sometimes insight and advice from somebody else, going back to that understanding God degree, that righteousness or being just and true is seen and heard everywhere. You have to create your network of people who can see and hear everywhere. Because sometimes you may not have that answer and you need to talk to somebody so they can help talk you, not talk you off of the ledge, but talk you from throwing that person over the ledge. You know what I'm saying? Because there is never a situation where you lose your supreme force and power. You always have an opportunity to respond in some kind of capacity. And there's always going to be a righteous option and a wise option. Sometimes you may not have that information, but you may need to call one of your sisters or your brothers to see what they would do under those circumstances. That's why they call it a lifeline. You know what I'm saying? So in this lesson where it says destroying the devil in one day without falling victim to the devil's civilization, it's saying destroy the devil in one day, not destroy the devil, one day. It ain't saying that, because that's leaving shit lingering. Because one day, that's not a date on a calendar. And let me show you what happens when you let shit linger. Let's go all the way back to the 1 to 14s. Look at what this says. So Muhammad learned that he could not reform him devil because he knew there was a snake. Also, if allowed to live, he would just sting somebody else. So sometimes when we let shit linger, we're just allowing it to sting somebody else. Just like I said last class about that garden snake in the Genesis, by the time we just let it grow, when you get to Revelations, it's a fire-breathing dragon. That same garden snake is a dragon now. You know what I'm saying? So dealing with adversity, sometimes we have the capacity to deal with it personally, but you always have to make sure that you have a network to collectively deal with adversity as well. Because sometimes you do not personally have the answer. You may be too deep in your emotions anyway for you to see anything. And you need somebody to be able to give you some insight to see that forest as opposed to that tree you're looking at.